Eve. Air raid sirens blaring as troops have entered the city, even as Ukraine's president calls for peace. ABC's Eric Katursky is in Lviv, western Ukraine.
President Zelensky has said he is target number one, but he is defiantly refusing to leave the city. He has put his family into hiding. And in preparation for maybe some kind of street fighting or even a prolonged insurgency, Ukrainian authorities have been posting to social media instructions for how to make Molotov cocktails, and they've conscripted men 18 to 60 into the fighting.
Russia's foreign minister said diplomatic negotiations will begin once, quote, democratic order is restored in Ukraine. President Biden slapped sanctions on Russia Thursday. He's maintained U.S. troops will not fight in Ukraine. But Senator Mark Warner, the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said the threat of cyber attacks carries the risk of spilling over. He says those attacks could easily cross into NATO countries like Poland and trigger the alliance's Article 5.
That, by definition, means if you attack one NATO nation, you attack all of them.
The United Nations Refugee Agency estimates over 100,000 people have already been displaced. ABC's Matt Gutman is with some of them in Poland.
Overnight, parents holding their children's hands, children holding their stuffed animals. They brought only what they could carry. The ravenous gulping down soup, and it was there that we found Yulia. She left her mother behind, now alone.
I was forced to quit my country, and I didn't want it.
Down the hallway, Anton and Maria, their baby son Lev, finally asleep on the cot.
Do you think you will go back to Ukraine?
Maybe.
She says no.
Today could be the day President Biden announces his selection for the Supreme Court. Two sources familiar with the choice tell ABC News he has reached a decision on his nominee. You're listening to ABC News.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
With the stock market at all-time highs, cash in your profits now and invest in an asset that can potentially pay for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. Call now to learn how you can potentially achieve 20 or more years of income and deduct 100% of every dollar invested against all forms of income. Call 1-800-278-7455. Invest in your future and buy oil. Oil prices are projected to rise. In fact, Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $100 a barrel. You need to own a piece of an oil field. Call 1-800-278-7455. Encore Energy is a very active oil and gas operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 1-800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 1-800-278-7455. 1-800-278-7455.
The Vatican says Pope Francis canceled a planned visit to Florence and will not preside over Ash Wednesday commemorations because of what the Vatican calls acute knee pain. 3 former Minneapolis police officers were found guilty of violating the civil rights of George Floyd for not intervening when Derek Chauvin killed Floyd in 2020. Acting U.S. Attorney Charles Kovats said the 3 had every opportunity to help.
These officers chose to do nothing to assist Mr. Floyd as he lay dying.
The group still faces trial on state charges in June. With no sign of significant progress between baseball management and the players' union, the start of the Major League season at the end of March is very much in doubt.
The latest negotiating session Thursday in Jupiter, Florida, produced little movement and no proposals on big money issues, leaving Major League Baseball just days from management's Monday night deadline for a deal to salvage opening day at a 162-game season.
Talks, frankly, haven't gone anywhere. You know, they are inching along like a snail at this point, and someone's got to make a big move, and it's just a staring contest.
ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan says both sides are far apart.
Which makes me, and I hate to say this, not very optimistic about the season starting on March 31st.
They meet again today. Todd Ant, ABC News.
The CDC today expected to issue updated guidelines about mask wearing. Officials tell ABC News it would ease mask recommendations for many parts of the country. This is ABC News.
On our first date, we had masks on and kept 6 feet apart. Now, we're a lot closer.
Just like Cliff and Deb, thousands of singles over 50 found their perfect match on Silver Singles last year.
I feel like I'm 20 years old again, and I'm pretty sure she feels the same way.
Rediscover the magic of dating with Silver Singles, the exclusive community for singles over 50. Sign up today and receive daily matches you won't want to miss at silversingles.com/radio. silversingles.com/radio.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the rest.
Good morning, everyone. We're seeing some patchy fog and mist for your morning commute, so a damp and chilly start to the day. But we're watching a warm front closely that'll move from south to north across the area by midday. We'll see a partly to mostly cloudy afternoon, a warm and breezy afternoon as well. Highs today in the upper 70s and lower 80s. A cold front arrives overnight tonight. We'll start off in the lower 40s Saturday morning. Mostly cloudy sky with highs in the 50s Saturday afternoon. Chilly rain for Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And here in Rutherford, we still have fog out there, so if you're just getting up, getting started, allow yourself a little extra time this morning because that fog can be quite dense in some areas. Fog will be lifting here pretty soon. Right now we're starting out at 46 degrees, warming up to 71 with a gusty wind of 17 miles per hour. Now I have these death announcements this morning. Jim Wontuck, 71 of Bostic, passed away Saturday, February the 19th. A visitation will be held from 1 until 4 Sunday, February 27th at Washburn and Dorsey Funeral Home. A brief service will be conducted at 4 o'clock Sunday after the visitation at the funeral home. Washburn Dorsey Funeral Home, serving the family of Jim Wontuck. Willie Mae Flynn, 71 of Forest City, passed away Tuesday, February 22nd at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. Graveside services will be held 2 p.m. Monday, February the 28th at Shingle Hollow Congregational Holiness Church Cemetery. Ms. Flynn will lie in state 30 minutes prior to the service. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Willie Mae Flynn. William Bill Dennis Hutchins, Jr., 66, of the Washburn community, died Tuesday, February 22nd. A graveside service will be conducted at 11 o'clock Saturday at Salem United Methodist Church. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service in charge of the arrangements for William Bill Dennis Hutchins. Martha Davis Hamrick, age 88, of Bostic, died Wednesday at her home. The funeral will be held at 2 o'clock Saturday at Bethel Baptist Church. The burial will be private for her family in the church cemetery. No formal visitation is planned by the family. And the Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory in charge of the arrangements for Martha Davis Hamrick. Roy Vance of Rutherford passed away February 17th after an extended illness. Services for Roy will be announced at a later date, and Crow's Funeral Home will make that announcement for Roy Vance of Rutherford. Evelyn Butler Showes, 92 of Bostic, died February 18th at Fairhaven home of Bostic. A memorial service will be held at a date and time to be announced in the coming days by the Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory, who will be in charge of the arrangements for Evelyn Butler Showes. Melody Spooner Skillman, 67 of Bostic, passed away Saturday, February 19th at her residence. There will not be a service at this time, and Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Services serving the family of Melody Spooner Skillman of Bostic. Jeffrey Steve Roper died Wednesday, February 23rd. No services will be scheduled at this time, and Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Jeffrey Steve Roper. Those are the death announcements we have in house this morning. For the complete information on these and others as they become available to us, you can hear them at 11:35 this morning and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon report here on WCAB 100.9 FM, 590 AM. Serving the foothills of the Carolinas with the most information and the best entertainment. Our next Tar Heel game coming up on Saturday, 12:30 will be the countdown, 1 o'clock pregame, and the 2 o'clock tip-off. That'll be UNC and NC State. Game heard right here as they prepare themselves for the ACC tournament, which will be happening over in March, March is coming up here the first of Tuesday morning. And then, of course, March Madness gets kicked in. We'll have all that information for you as it becomes available to us from the Tar Heel Sports Network when they will be playing and what other games might be played here on the radio. Now stand by for the Bill O'Reilly Morning Update coming to us from our network. Bill O'Reilly Morning Update is coming up right now from WCAB in Rutherford.
President Biden promising Vladimir Putin will
percent of the USA meat industry because big food crushes the little guy. Help change that with moinkbox.com. Moink supports family farms and delivers grass-fed meat and wild-caught salmon right to your door. Right now, listeners to this broadcast can get free filet mignon for a year. So please go to moinkbox.com/bill. That's MOINK box.com/bill. On this Friday, I'm going to deviate away from Ukraine for a commentary about what's happening in the USA politically. So, few agree with me, but I believe progressive power in this country is on the decline. It's a theory, but the apex of the progressive movement occurred when Joe Biden took office. As the president has demonstrated, he is in the pocket of the progressives, but that pocket is developing a huge hole. Here are some of the things progressives have hurt in America. The economy. The Green New Deal has led to higher prices for just about everything. The justice system. It has collapsed in many cities because criminals are not being punished. Public education. Woke policies, including critical race theory, are harming children. No question about that. The entertainment industry. Hollywood is on the verge of irrelevance because creativity is being destroyed by woke executives. Television news. Progressives ran CNN and it collapsed under the weight of corruption. Public debate. Progressive gutter snipes on Twitter and Instagram try to destroy people so people don't speak up. In fact, I can't think of one thing the progressive philosophy has improved in the USA. In the end, I think folks are beginning to smell the latte. Now this. Investors, are you sitting on capital or wanting to diversify? The NRIA Real Estate Development Fund provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer steady monthly payouts plus double-digit annualized returns. Start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
Good morning, everybody. Time to get up and greet the world with a smile. And remember, live each and every day as if it were your last. And eventually it will be. Have a nice day.
Thank you for making WCAB your radio station of choice in the foothills. Now get the best of both worlds. 100.9 FM and 590 AM Rutherfordton.
This is Gilbert. I'm back on the air every Saturday from 8 to 9. So put on a pot of coffee, sit down, and listen to Gilbert Talks Taxes. You just might learn something.
Born in England and educated in a female seminary, Alice Ivers came to the United States and eventually settled down in Colorado, where she married Frank Duffield, a mining engineer. Frank enjoyed playing poker, and Alice went with him. Sometimes when Frank was at work, Alice would sit in on games. When her husband was killed in a mine explosion, Alice turned to cards full time. She did so well that soon the miners were calling her Poker Alice. In Silver City, New Mexico, she broke the bank. She headed to New York and proceeded to spend it all. She returned to Colorado and worked for Bob Ford, the person who shot Jesse James. That is until Ed Kelly killed him. Even though she constantly smoked a cigar, Poker Alice always dressed like a lady. Like most gamblers, Alice carried a pistol, and she wasn't afraid to use it either. A drunken miner pulled a knife on a dealer. Alice shot the miner. Poker Alice ended up marrying the man whose life she saved. Later, when she owned her own establishment, she shot and killed the troublemaking customer. At one point, she owned a sheep ranch. Busy gambling, she hired George Huckett to tend the sheep. When George's unpaid wages got to be over $1,000, Poker Alice married him because it would be cheaper to marry him than pay him off. At the age of 79 on February 27, 1930, Poker Alice died. Even though she gambled all her adult life, married 3 times, killed a man, smoked cigars constantly, and ran a combination gambling and whorehouse, Poker Alice's early religious upbringing stayed with her. She never gambled on Sunday. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Jesse James Railroad Express has added 2 new sandwiches to their menu. Try the all-new crispy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, or the crispy deluxe with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, and cheese. And now, the new beer-battered fish sandwich. All come with sides. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. Call 828-447-4644. Mondays only, hot dog with mustard, chili, and onions for only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
Congratulations to Jesse James Railroad Express, voted 2021 Best of Rutherford County hot dogs and hamburgers 5 years in a row.
Now let's head to the phones and find out what's been going on. This is Friday Morning Report. It's 16 past 7 o'clock, and we go first to the Sheriff's Department, and we have Sergeant Brendel on the phone to give us a report. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Congratulations in order for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, congratulations on that promotion. Tell us what's been going on.
Past 24 hours, the Sheriff's Office has answered 140 calls, processed 13 arrests, and currently have 161 in our jail. Under our arrest reports, we have a Amanda Hull Ramsey, 42-year-old white female of Rutherford, was charged with second-degree trespassing, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Christopher Michael Walker, 33-year-old white male of Bostic, was charged with 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Dolores Yale Hanser, 63-year-old white female of Paul Ranch Road in Bostic, was charged with 11 counts of cruelty to animals and 3 counts of a local ordinance violation, given a $10,000 unsecured bond. We have a Lindsay Martha Henderson, 32-year-old white female of Rutherford, was charged with 1 count of failure to appear on a felony, given a $10,000 secured bond. We have a Thomas Glenn Ray, 28-year-old white male of Shelby, was charged with 1 count of drug paraphernalia and 1 count of possession of meth, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a Dion Cash, 44-year-old black male of Spindale, was charged with 1 count of, looks like he was served with a show cause for failure to pay money, written promise on that. We have a Jimmy Levon Bristol, 50-year-old black male of Henrietta, was served with 2 court processes. Looks like $620 cash bond on that. We have a Ricky Lee Harris Jr., 37-year-old white male of Bostic, was served with a court order. Looks like $600 cash bond on that. Under our incident reports, we have a felony larceny reported from Bridges Drive in Far City. Looks like 2 cell phones valued at approximately $750 each were taken. We have a breaking and entering reported from Waters Road in Bostic. Looks like maybe damage to a statue was done in that incident. We have a B&E that was reported at Green Hill Store. It looks like a drink and a pack of cigarettes, or 2 packs of cigarettes, and looks like they busted the front door. A suspect was arrested in that case. I don't believe he wanted to provide officers with his name at the time of his arrest. We have a damaged property, 642 US 221A. Looks like someone busted the front door to that business. Nothing taken, just damage to the front door. We have a obtaining property by false pretense from Centennial Road in Union Mills. It looks like a gentleman tried buying a tractor on eBay, paid $17,000. He was scammed in that deal. And we have a breaking and entering reported from Lefford Road in Ellenboro. Looks like miscellaneous household items were taken in that incident. And that's all we have to report this morning.
Sergeant Brundle, we do appreciate the report. You have a safe weekend. Be safe out there.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Sergeant Brundle reporting from the Sheriff's Department this morning. We'll move next to 911 Communications Center.
Your income tax refund is on its way, and for that new vehicle you've been wanting, well, it's waiting for you at A1 Auto Sales and Service on South Main Street in Rutherfordton. They offer clean titles, do a search history on each vehicle on the lot. They offer a 120-point inspection check. A1 offers outside financing and buy here, pay here. Plus, they have their own professional service department with 20 years experience, up-to-date diagnostic equipment, and they offer mechanical paint and body work, insurance appraisal, and they are GM Senior Master Technology certified. Visit them today, 518 South Main Street in Rutherfordton, or call 828-829-5877.
Here's Amber now reporting from 911 Communications Center with our Friday morning report. Amber, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. What's on the report?
In the past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 479 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 43 calls for EMS. For law enforcement, there were 140 calls for the Sheriff's Office, 42 for Forest City, 7 for Lake Lure, 20 for Rutherfordton, and 34 for Spindale. And then for fire calls, Bills Creek responded to a motor vehicle accident. Bostic responded to 2 structure fires with Forest City, Hudlow, and Cherry Mountain assisting. Ellenboro responded to a motor vehicle accident, and Forest City responded to 2 fire alarms. And that's all.
Thanks so much. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Well, the official opening for candidates filing opened yesterday for the 2022 primary elections, and 2 candidates officially threw their hats into the ring, both running for the office of sheriff for Rutherford County. Aaron Ellenberg filed as a Republican, while Jason Weiss filed as a Democrat. Also, Republican Ramona Smith filed for the Board of Elections District 1 seat. They joined candidates who had filed in the initial filing period back in December before the courts halted that filing after a day and a half. They are incumbent County Commissioner Brian King, Alan Toney, and Mike Benfield, and challenger Jason Dwayne Toney, Clerk of Superior Court Steve Owens, and challenger Patsy Kirkland and Darren Joyner, who filed for Board of Education District 1. Aside from Weiss, all candidates who have filed so far are Republicans. And meanwhile, the Sheriff Chris Francis made his earlier decision to not seek re-election official by filing paperwork to have his name removed from the primary ballot. Here now is Ruby Taylor with our report from Danieltown SDO Fire District. Ruby, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on the Danieltown report?
Well, they didn't have any calls. They're still quiet. On my birthday counter, I've got Deborah Robbins, Dr. C.N. Jane. I hope they have knees today, knees Saturday, and the legs Sunday. And that's all I got, Jim.
Thanks. You have a great weekend now. Enjoy yourself over there.
I will, and you too.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Well, Dolores Hansen was arrested February 24th. The Sheriff's Office of Rutherford County and Rutherford County Animal Control executed a search warrant at 158 Paul's Ranch Road in reference to animal cruelty. Results of the search warrant was 23 horses, 17 goats, and 1 sheep were seized. All the animals have been dispersed to various rescues and foster homes until a court decision is determined. Dolores Hansen, 63, was charged with 11 counts of misdemeanor cruelty to animals, 1 count of improper burial. That's a local ordinance. And 2 counts of specific animal care requirements. That's a local ordinance. Ms. Hansen was taken before the magistrate and received a $10,000 unsecured bond. That report just filed overnight, coming in early this morning. Let's check in with Gary Wilson. He's up in the mountains on this foggy Friday morning at Fairfield Mountains Fire District. Gary, how is it up there?
It is foggy as soup out there. It is thick out there this morning. So if you're driving around here this morning, you better slow her down a little bit because you'll outrun your headlights if you're not careful. It's thick fog out there, about 48 degrees, just a little drizzle overnight, but real foggy. It's going to be here around until about 10 o'clock every day, so be careful. And had one fire call going on this morning. Had a mobile home fire on Bills Creek Road, Bills Creek, Lake Lord, Green Hill, us and Chimney Rock assisting on that. It was about 5 o'clock this morning. And that's about all I can report on that. I wasn't at the scene myself, still on medical leave right now, but I'm not aware of any injury or anything like that, so hopefully there wasn't any. And that's about all we got up here this morning. Everything else is going on pretty good. Just try to burn this fog off so everybody can see where they're going.
You know, it's terrible to wake up in the morning and realize your house is on fire. It's a terrible thing to happen any time, but to wake up to that, it's terrible.
Not a good thing. It's been happening in warm weather, cold weather, any other time as far as that goes.
That's right. Are you healing up pretty good?
Yep. I'm getting there.
Good.
Just don't heal as fast as I used to for some reason.
Well, we get him.
Could be age, man. You both about 39. I think.
That's right. That's exactly right. Hey, we get impatient sometimes, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, listen, you keep improving and have a good weekend and be safe up there.
You too, Jim.
Thanks,
Take
Gary.
care.
Hey, folks, you know, Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse-quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherfordton.
Devon Upton is next over in the Bostic Fire District on this Friday morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing really good.
It's Friday.
Yes, it is. It's foggy, but it's Friday.
That's right. Well, we have 50 degrees over here in Boston, but I think it's supposed to turn out to be a pretty nice day. The fire department had 2 calls they responded to, 2 structure fires, but one of them turned out to be just burning of trash. Washburn's Outreach is giving out food again today from 9 to 12. Faith Baptist Church, Brian Melton is the pastor. We're taking out a meal to a couple of the motels here in the county today. And check out our Bostic floor. Spring is coming around the corner, and she'll have some new items in. And hope everyone has a safe and wonderful day.
You too. Have a good weekend now.
I will.
Right.
You too.
Bye. Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Let's say good morning to Bob Hodge now over in the Hudlow Fire District on this foggy Friday. Good morning, Bob.
Well, good Friday morning.
How you doing?
We're doing just fine up here. A little foggy this morning again.
Yeah.
So. But maybe that'll clear out after a while. It's supposed to be a little warmer today than it was yesterday. But it's had a little cool air. And it cooled down our way to what it was around. So, but supposed to be a little warmer today.
Can you believe the expected high today is 71?
Yeah, but we'll make up for it over the weekend, I guess.
Yeah.
Be in the 50s again.
yeah. And March is coming.
But look like next week's going to be right nice, so be pretty dry and sort of mild. So maybe we'll have a good week there. And Jim, with the fire department, we've answered one medical call and assisted boasted on a structure fire. And I want to say happy birthday to Paula McNallen today. Birthdays for Saturday, Carolyn Pondexter. And for Sunday, Martha Doggett and Pauline Ime. And Jim, that's about it. I hope you have a good weekend.
Thank you, Bob. You and I have a good weekend as well, and I will see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Surprise, looks like she's up and at 'em this morning. Let's check in on her and see what kind of activity they've having over in the Cherry Mountain Fire District. Sue, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
You feeling good this morning?
I'm doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed.
It's a foggy morning over here this morning. Maybe it'll clear up in a little bit and be a pretty day, we hope. Now, let's see. I think the fire department assisted Bostic on the structure fire. Don't have any birthdays on my church calendar. On my personal calendar, I've got a birthday for Linda Bradley. So happy birthday, Linda. Hope you have a good one. And nothing on Fairview's. First Broad has a birthday for Carol Bumgarner, so hope Carol will have a good day. And no announcements that I know of, nothing going on over our way, but we hope everybody will have a good day today. And those that's having birthdays or anniversaries will have a real special day. And hope you'll have a good day today too, Jim.
Thanks, Sue. You too, and we will check on you next Monday.
All right.
Have a good one now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And the big news, of course, today all around the world is the Ukraine war there that Russia's trying to take into and take over. And it's a lot of people are going to be involved in that. A lot of deaths already happened. 13 Ukrainian border guards killed fighting Russians. They, I don't know how ultimately we're all going to be involved in that, if we're going to be boots on the ground or not, but we are trying our best to do something. Just a lot of prayers ought to be going up right now for the Ukrainian people, because they're being overtaken by Russia this morning. 7:34, and we'll get back to our next phone call right after this. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Now up in the Piney Knob community, Shingle Hollow. Let's check in on Tina White, see what's happening up there this morning. How are you, Tina?
I am doing fine and dandy on this foggy Friday.
Well, I'll tell you, if you don't feel good on Friday, there's something wrong.
Well, it is quite foggy out here, so be careful driving around, and like Mr. Wilson said, turn your headlights on, please, people.
Yes. And probably on lower beam better than the high beam, because high beam sometimes will dart right into the fog and make it worse. So lower beams is better to drive in the fog.
You're so right. Well, we plan on having a good foggy Friday for a little while this morning, and then a good cleared up Friday for the rest of the day. Today is a special day for Mr. Ray Duncan. He turns 92 today.
Oh, Ray turned 92. All right, Ray.
Happy birthday, Ray. Anybody that knows Mr. Ray, please give him a call if you know his number and tell him happy birthday. It is 48 degrees on the front porch, and Shingle Hollow Fire Department was all quiet. They didn't have any calls in the past 24 hours, but it sounded like the rest of the fire departments were pretty busy.
Yes.
Tomorrow at White House Community Clubhouse in the morning at 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., they are having their country buffet breakfast. $7 for adults, $5 for children, 5 and under is free. They have all the country trimmings. They have eggs, scrambled eggs, liver mush sausage, fried potatoes, homemade applesauce, sausage gravy, plain gravy, jams and jellies, all you need. You cannot go wrong by going to White House Community Clubhouse for their breakfast in the morning. And then Sunday, on the 27th, the Deddy sisters are going to be at Piney Knob Baptist Church at 11 a.m. Everyone's invited to come hear these young ladies sing. And everyone get ready for the spring revival over at Pilgrim Way Baptist Church, March 7th to 11th at 7 p.m. nightly. They're going to have a revival, all invited. And pray for the revival to be a true revival. That's all I got this morning.
All right. Well, I hope your weekend is good and positive, and we'll see you next week.
Have a very blessed weekend, and I will talk to you Monday.
See you, Tina. Bye-bye.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. When we work together, we focus what's important to you. We create a personalized strategy backed by our advice, our tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we partner together to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me at any time at 828-287-9197. We'll sit down, talk, and we're going to make a strategy that's right for you.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
And news from the top of the hillside up on Union Mills. Brenda Kelly is anxious to talk to us this morning. Good morning, Brenda Kelly.
Good morning, Jim Bishop. How are you on this fabulous foggy Friday?
As far as I can see, it's foggy.
I'm telling you, it is. It's terrible. But it's supposed to burn off in a little while, ain't it?
It is. Yeah, the rest of the day's going to be almost like summer.
Oh, well, good. We'll take that, won't we?
You can open up your swimming pool today.
How about if we go just wading in the creek?
That works. Boy, I did that many times when I was a little boy.
Yeah, somewhere in my husband's pictures when he was little, down here where Grandma Condry's house used to say it burnt years ago, but it sat down there right on the creek just about, and it had rained a lot, and the creek had come up, and Donald and some other the people, his cousins and stuff, was out there just having a field day in that creek.
Oh, yeah, nothing like it. Nothing like it.
But we hope everybody's having a good day. I've got 44 degrees on the front porch this morning. I don't have any birthdays or any anniversaries. And in ways of announcement, Saturday, February the 26th, Union Mills Wilderness Race, 5K, 10K, and virtual options in-person race starts at 10 a.m. and the cost is $25. Pre-register at the website Information Fund on UMLC Facebook page or by contacting 828-429-5871. And then Friday, March the 4th, Music at the Mills Homegrown will open for Wiregrass. Meal at 6 p.m., music at 7 p.m., and there's no cost for the music, but they do have tip jars available for the band. And so far, that's all I know of going on up here. We're just looking for a good weekend.
Well, I hope it is a good one. Hope it's safe for everybody.
Yeah,
and I hope
yeah.
they settle down over in Croatia.
Oh, that's terrible, ain't it? I just can't imagine living in a place and some other country coming in thinking, well, I want that, and just run it over and take it.
Yeah. You know, they could easily, Russia easily could do that to Alaska.
They could do it to anybody, really. You think about it.
Since they once owned Alaska, they can say, we want Alaska back. Let's just take over.
Yeah.
And move in like they're doing over there.
And I have always said, that Putin, he is evil. You can see it in his eyes. I ain't never seen him when I thought he wasn't evil.
Well, he looks like it, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, he sure does.
Normally KGB officer, so he's still got it in his blood, I'm sure.
It's terrible.
Russia said protesters may face treason charges. So if you protest what's going on, they may charge you with treason. So that's how evil it's gotten.
I know it. It's just a sign of the end of times.
Getting closer and closer, isn't it?
I really think it is. It's terrible. The world is in a terrible situation.
It's probably a good thing we don't have the knowledge to understand everything Revelation is saying to us. We'd probably be in fear because
we'd be pulling our hair out.
Because it's probably closer than we realize.
Yeah. It's we had discussed that in Sunday school Sunday about signs of the times, and one of them is a great falling away from Christianity and people going to church and trying to live by the Bible. You don't see that much anymore.
That's right.
Most of the people in churches are senior citizens.
To a large degree, you're right.
So it's just what's the old saying, handwriting on the wall?
Handwriting on the wall.
That's it.
Brenda, you have a wonderful weekend.
You have a good one. We'll catch you later.
See you now. Bye. And we'll get over to Ellenboro and find out what's happening over there right after this.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush. Brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
All right, we're over in Ellenboro now. They let us in the gate there in Ellenboro. See if we can round up some news from Luther Gilligan. Good morning, Luther.
Good morning. You have to dig him out first.
You had to dig him out of the fog or what?
He lost in the fog.
Well,
hauled it off by a truckload this morning. It is a little foggy, but it's a nice day. We're going to have a good time. It's going to clear off directly. But it's quiet this morning, not a whole lot happening. People just get their biscuits and their gas and heading on out, get this last day of the weekend. Looking forward to another weekend. You see, the fire department only had one call, had an accident yesterday morning out here on Honey Mountain Road. And other than that, everything's quiet. Well, we wish happy birthday to Miss Helen Helton. She's having a birthday today, so hope she has a great day. And hope you have a great day up there. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
You do the same thing, Luther, and I'll see you then.
All right, take care now.
Bye. Time now for birthdays and anniversaries. This is the 25th day of February. You know, February's a short month. This is the last Friday in this month. So if you're celebrating, we want to hear from you. 287-3356. 287-3356. That's birthdays and anniversaries. So we can give you a big shout out and let the world know that you lived through another year. We're happy about that all the time, aren't we? Call us at 287-3356.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you, so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled A-R-Y-E-E. I don't know about you, but I love a good omelet once in a while, don't you? I love the cheese omelet. I love put some ham in it, maybe some sausage links. But I love a good omelet. You can find a good omelet at Granny B's. They have omelet style, 3 eggs for $6.25. And you can also add 2 pancakes, biscuits of toast. If you like French toast, they do a great job of that. 3 slices, 2 slices, blueberry, strawberry, or maple flavored syrup. And they have biscuits and gravy. Side a biscuit sausage gravy. Why don't you try breakfast this morning at Granny B's and do yourself a favor and just relax. Have a good, slow-paced breakfast. Drink some of their good coffee they've got there at Granny B's, and the whole day is going to look a whole lot brighter for you. Granny B's, they're in Spindale, right next door to the Shake Shop. Enjoy breakfast.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday wishes going out to Carol Bumgarner, 87, up in Golden Valley. Cherise Cole is 22, Cliffside, works at Ingalls. Donna McKinney? What's her last name? Donna McClooney? McKinney. Donna McKinney works at Morganton Eye Physicians. It's not that I can't read Todd's writing, it's just that I can't read reading sometimes. Other birthdays include 1913, Jim Backus, voice of Mr. Dooley. This morning, he died in 1989. 1927, Ralph Stanley. This morning, he died 2016. 1932, Farron Young was born. He was a singer. He died 1996. 1949, Ric Flair was born. He's a big wrestler. Woohoo! Also, in 1836, Samuel Colt patented the first multi-shot revolver, cylinder revolver, Peacemaker was called. 1933, the first U.S. aircraft carrier named USS Ranger. 1957, Buddy Holly and the Crickets recorded "That'll Be the Day When You Say Goodbye." Well, that's recorded in 1957. Other things important: National Skip the Straw Day. I don't like drinking out of straws, do you? National Skip the Straw Day, National Chocolate Covered Nut Day, now I do love those, and National Clam Chowder Day, and I love that too. So now you're up to date on this date in history, right here on WCAB. Now the keys to confident living coming up, and next hour we'll have news from here and there. I'll update you on some local stories.
How many times have we heard it said, people used to just shake hands and that settled the deal? Or when a man gave his word, that was enough. What has happened to those days? Reams of legal papers and hours of litigation now seem to be the norm. Booker T. Washington, in his book Up From Slavery, describes how an ex-slave from Virginia felt compelled to keep his promise. Several years before Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, this slave made a contract with his owner in which the slave was permitted to buy his body back. Furthermore, the slave was permitted to work for whomever would pay the higher wages for his services. He found that he could make higher wages in Ohio. Every year, the slave paid so much for his personal freedom. Partway through his personal buyout, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, freeing all slaves from obligation to former owners. Legally, the slave owed nothing more. The contract was made null and void. However, the slave continued to pay the amount agreed to. He walked a large portion of the way back to Virginia and put the last payment with interest in the hand of his former owner. Why would he do this? Didn't he know it was unnecessary? In talking about the matter to Mr. Washington, the ex-slave admitted that legally he didn't have to pay the amount back. However, he had given his word, and his word was something that he had never broken. True freedom came when he fulfilled his promise. This is Bill Hostler with today's key to confident living.
Thank you for making WCAB your radio station of choice in the foothills. Now get the
From the head of the Ukrainian military, which is now using all able-bodied men to try to keep Russian troops out of the capital, Kyiv. ABC's Ian Panel is there.
We've seen firefights breaking out inside the city, and there are reports that the police and the military are just handing out weapons to civilians. And I have to say the city is now braced for what looks like the battle for Kyiv.
Russia's defense ministry now claims that its forces have blocked Kyiv from the west. Retired Marine Colonel Steve Ganyard, a former State Department official and ABC News contributor, says Russia's strategy of toppling the Ukrainian government is apparent.
We're going to see disinformation throughout the day where the Russians are going to claim that the government is fleeing and that they're going to put in a puppet government. But this is the time where the capitulation is pressure is highest, and Zelensky is going to be the target.
President Zelensky said he's learned he is target number one of Russian forces. He's also criticized sanctions imposed by the West as inadequate. But Secretary of State Antony Blinken told ABC Thursday one aspect, import sanctions, will severely hamper Russia's economy.
Their ability to import the technology necessary to modernize their economy, to put into critical industries like defense, like aerospace, that too being taken away. And this is going to have a very significant impact.
Two sources familiar with the president's decision say President Biden has made his selection for the Supreme Court. An announcement could come today. He has pledged to nominate a black woman to the seat. New guidance is coming today from the CDC regarding mask recommendations. ABC's Alex Stone says this could mean in many areas masks are no longer recommended.
Today's new guidance from the CDC is expected to outline how cities should move into the next phase of the pandemic, shifting away from daily case counts and instead watching how well their healthcare system is handling cases and adjust on a local level.
You're listening to ABC News.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary. With the stock market at all-time highs, cash in your profits now and invest in an asset that can potentially pay for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. Call now to learn how you can potentially achieve 20 or more years of income and deduct 100% of every dollar invested against all forms of income. Call 1-800-278-7455. Invest in your future and buy oil. Oil prices are projected to rise. In fact, Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $100 a barrel. You need to own a piece of an oil field. Call 1-800-278-7455. Encore Energy is a very active oil and gas operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 1-800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 1-800-278-7455. 1-800-278-7455.
The investigation into former President Trump's White House records is expanding.
The House Oversight Committee asking the National Archives for a detailed list of items President Trump took with him to Mar-a-Lago, including all presidential records the agency discovered that Mr. Trump had torn up or attempted to destroy. The committee chair saying she's concerned President Trump may have deliberately broken the law requiring presidents to preserve those records.
That's ABC's Andy Field in Washington. The former president's denied any wrongdoing. There was a horrifying scene Thursday night in Miami Beach.
An elderly woman lost control of her car when she tried to park, and police say that's when she drove into several outdoor dining tables in Miami Beach where people were sitting. This man witnessed the crash.
There were multiple bangs that the car hit. It didn't stop. It kept going.
A few people were trapped under the car, including a small boy. Robert DeBurro says they had to do something.
A bunch of people grabbed the vehicle and counted 1, 2, 3 and lifted the vehicle up, and a waiter in there pulled a young boy out.
One person was killed, 6 others injured. Todd Ant, ABC News.
One of the jurors who convicted Scott Peterson of murdering his wife and unborn son nearly 20 years ago is expected to testify today in Peterson's bid for a new trial. The juror will be asked whether she lied about being a victim of physical abuse from her boyfriend while pregnant in order to get onto the jury to convict Peterson. This is ABC News.
On our first date, we had masks on and kept 6 feet apart. Now, we're a lot closer.
Just like Cliff and Deb, thousands of singles over 50 found their perfect match on Silver Singles last year.
I feel like I'm 20 years old again, and I'm pretty sure she feels the same way.
Rediscover the magic of dating with Silver Singles, the exclusive community for singles over 50. Sign up today and receive daily matches you won't want to miss at silversingles.com/radio. silversingles.com/radio.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Tax refunds are on the way, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, stop by A1 Auto Sales and Service on South Main in Rutherfordton. All vehicles have clean titles. They search history reports, do title brand searches. They offer a 120-point inspection check. Plus, all vehicles are researched before they're even put on the sales lot. A1 offers outside financing and buy here, pay here. They offer discounts to seniors, military, education, and healthcare workers, and all city, county, and federal employees. Mondays only, bring your church bulletin for a special discount from Ryan. A1 Auto Sales and Service Center on South Main Street in Rutherfordton. Stop in or give them a call, 828-829-5877.
Good morning, everyone. We're seeing some patchy fog and mist for your morning commute, so a damp and chilly start to the day. But we're watching a warm front closely that'll move from south to north across the area by midday. We'll see a partly to mostly cloudy afternoon, a warm and breezy afternoon as well. Highs today in the upper 70s and lower 80s. A cold front arrives overnight tonight. We'll start off in the lower 40s Saturday morning. Mostly cloudy sky with highs in the 50s Saturday afternoon. Chilly rain for Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Well, it looks like the fog is burning off on this end of the county. It may be thick where you are, so please remember that. Around the curves, there may be still some thick fog, so watch out for that as you're traveling to your destination this morning. We warmed up to 47, on our way to 71. 71 here in February the 25th. My. And dropping back tonight to 39, so it's a big drop from 79 to 39. And winds going to be gusting to 17 miles per hour today, gusting to 12 miles per hour tonight. And then tomorrow we got a pretty good day, 52 for the daytime high, and then some scattered showers developing tomorrow night again. Weather is changing from time to time, and that's why we're happy to report to you as we get it, the new changes in the weather. Some of you have weather apps on your phone, but sometimes it changes quickly, and we can relate that to you. We got news from here and there coming up here in just a moment.
I think we all agree drugs are a problem for Rutherford County. Hello, this is Theo, and I'm a candidate for sheriff. If you elect me as your next sheriff, I am committed to shutting down the drug houses. As a former state trooper and federal agent with 20-plus years of experience, I bring to the office of sheriff the training and determination to bring down the drug houses. I am committed to supporting the Second Amendment and following the Constitution. I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary Tuesday, May 17th, paid for by Steve Theodoropoulos, Republican for Sheriff.
Well, yesterday was the opening day for filing for local offices in the county and across the state. The candidates' filing period resumed yesterday. 2 candidates officially threw their hats into the ring, running for office of sheriff of Rutherford County. Aaron Eldenberg filed as a Republican yesterday, while Jason Weiss filed as a Democrat candidate for sheriff yesterday. Also, Republican Ramona Smith filed for Board of Education District 1 seat. They joined candidates who had filed in the initial filing period in December before the courts halted filing after about a day and a half. They are incumbent County Commissioners Brian King, Alan Toney, and Mike Benfield all filed early and did not have to refile after the change, but they're still on the ballot. And challenger Jason Dwayne Toney also filed. Clerk of Superior Court Steve Owens and challenger Patsy Kirkland also had filed, and Darren Joyner had filed for the Board of Education District 1. That creates a primary challenge there for that seat. Aside from Weiss, all candidates who have filed so far are Republicans. Also on Thursday, Sheriff Chris Francis made his earlier decision to not seek re-election. Officials by filing necessary paperwork to have his name removed from the primary ballot. Francis had originally intended to run, filed for office in December, and even had billboards promoting his candidacy. However, he later had a change of heart and made public his decision to not seek re-election in early February. Francis is serving his 12th year as sheriff and plans to complete his term of office until it ends in November. Candidate filing will end noon Friday, March 4th. The primary election day is May 17th. Had a call early asking me why I did not mention that District Attorney Ted Bell had filed for re-election. Well, the reason for that is it's simply an oversight. They filed, the judges and District Attorney filed on the state Board of Elections, not the local. And I'm receiving the local candidates that have filed. I get those every day. But they file on a different setting. I do not have those. So it was an oversight. Ted Bell has officially filed for re-election as candidate for district attorney. Don't know who else. Have not checked that out for any further. But a listener did want me to clarify that. Let me know that I'd overlooked a candidate. Didn't do it intentionally, just that I did not have that and had not even thought about that's the case. District attorney and the judges don't file locally; they file for a state on the state ballot. So there you go. So now you know. The State Board of Election also is reminding all North Carolina residents that state and county election officials will never, let me say that again, will never go door to door conducting any type of election business. This article in the Courier, written by Scott Carpenter, there have been reports that some private individuals are going door to door seeking information from voters about the 2020 general election. These are not election officials and are not authorized in any way by state or local election officials. Election officials are offering advice to residents. If a person comes to your home claiming to be an election worker, ask them to verify their identity and their organization. It is not necessary to answer your door, let anyone inside your home, or disclose any information about your voting record or private information to anyone who comes to your home. You do not have to do that. They are not official. Local officials say this has been a big problem in Rutherford County in past years. Rutherford County Elections Director Don Lovelace said, election officials don't come to your residence, and we also never send anyone anything in the mail that has not been requested. Sometimes people receive mailers that they think comes from us, and that just adds confusion and frustration. We do not send any unsolicited information in the mail about anything, period. For questions about voting or elections in North Carolina, residents are advised to contact the Rutherford County Board of Elections or the State Board of Elections. Residents can also check their voting registration status through State Board's online voter search tool. Also, if a person is not registered to vote or needs to update voter registration information, applications are available on the State Board website and at all local election offices. Residents may also register or update voter registration online with the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles if they have an NC driver's license or non-operator's identification. So a standard rule of proceeding is if somebody comes to your door, asks you for information, personal information, slam the door in their face. You don't have to give any of that information to anybody, and most legitimate organizations, such as the Board of Elections, Social Security, people like Duke, none of those folks come to your door and ask you for private information. So just slam the door in the face and tell them to get it going. Or if you get a phone call asking you for that kind of thing, hang up on them, because you do not have to give that information. Even if they threaten you with going to jail because you missed your jury date, ignore it. They do not do that. It is not done that way. So just please be safe and keep those squirrely people out of your way. Meanwhile, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office Criminal Apprehension Team is requesting the public's assistance in locating the whereabouts of Mr. Matthew Scott Hood. Matthew Scott Hood is wanted for a felony probation violation. Mr. Hood was last seen wearing a Batman-style hoodie with khaki pants. An image of Hood was included in the message they sent out. Mr. Hood should be considered armed and dangerous. If you have any information, please contact Rutherford County Sheriff's Office at 286-2911 or Crime Stoppers at 828-286-TIPS. Also, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's assistance in locating two missing runaway juveniles, Nicholas Lee Gilbert and Cara Marie Pierce. Both Gilbert and Pierce were last seen February 23rd in the Bostic Golden Valley area near U.S. Highway 226. Nicholas Lee Gilbert is 14 years old, white male that is 5'2", with blonde hair and brown eyes. He weighs about 115 pounds and was last seen wearing a black hat, black hoodie, blue jeans with holes in red Vans shoes. Cara Marie Pierce is a 15-year-old white female that is 5'4", with black hair and brown eyes. She weighs about 130 pounds and was last seen wearing a red and black tie-dye hoodie and blue jeans. If you have any information about either of these, please contact the Sheriff's Department. There was a woman charged with arrest for animal brutality. Let me pull that story up here. I got that right here. I believe. Let me see if I don't have that story. It's pretty lengthy. Well, I got it right here. Here it is, right here. I knew I had it here somewhere. On February 24th, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office and Rutherford County Animal Control executed a search warrant at 158 Paul's Ranch Road in reference to animal cruelty. Results of the search warrant was 23 horses, 17 goats, and 1 sheep were seized, and all the animals have been dispersed to various rescues and foster homes until a court decision is determined. Dolores Hanser, 63, was charged with 11 counts of misdemeanor cruelty to animals, 1 count of improper burial, that's a local ordinance, and 2 counts of specific animal care requirements, also a local ordinance. Ms. Hansen was taken before the magistrate and received a $10,000 unsecured bond. So that's information. The News 13 had that story, as well did Channel 7, but we got a more in-depth story right here. I got some more stories from here and there coming up right after this.
Discover, Plan, Do, the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 25th through 27th at Park Expo and Conference Center. 3 days only for great deals, new ideas, and practical advice with trusted local experts. Get inspired when you visit our Ask a Designer area, presented by Great Designs for You. Stand in awe of the Japanese art of flower arrangements known as ikebana. From kitchens and baths to flooring and more. Don't miss the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show at Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at charlottehomeandremodelingshow.com.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates, wanting to let you know that we have moved. Our new office is located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City. Come see us for auto, home, or your commercial insurance needs. Also come see me, Dwayne Hunt, for your Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or prescription drug plans. See us at Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City, or call 828-245-5301.
Well, the weekend is generally a little bit laid back for many. Some folks have worked 7 days straight, but sometimes it's a kind of laid back and you look for something different to do in terms of eating. Well, let me suggest you try Scrappy's Food and Fuel for breakfast or lunch or evening meal. Now, you can go right now, as a matter of fact. Breakfast is still hot down there. Do yourself a favor and stop by Scrappy's Food and Fuel. If you like a great hot dog or hand-breaded chicken tenders and onion rings or a juicy hamburger, I tell you that hamburger is thick, big, thick hamburger. And they do their own chili. They make their own chili that's really outstanding. I promise you it'll be good. And full breakfast is served Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. until 2 p.m., Saturdays from 7 until 2. Those hot handmade biscuits are ready as early as 6 o'clock. You really need to check out their menu for other choices. The store's open until 8 p.m., Monday through Saturday, for your favorite snacks and gasoline fill-ups. Scrappy's Food and Fuel is on the corner of Chase High Road and Highway 221, just below Floyd's Creek Baptist Church. Scrappy's Food and Fuel is locally owned and operated, and you're going to love these people that run that place. You can be friends with them, and they are really nice. They make you feel like you're part of the family. They'll serve you, make sure you get what you want, and it's really good. So give it a try. Maybe go down there right now. If you're in your car looking for a place to eat, go down there and ask them how they got the name Scrappy for their restaurant. They'll tell you all about that. All right, 18 after 8, Sheriff's Report coming up here in just a few moments. But over to Lenore, you think about sometimes robbers not being too smart to even try to break in or rob a place. They lacking something anyway, but sometimes they can be really stupid. Police over Lenore have arrested a man who they say attempted to rob a convenience store using a lighter and a can of spray de-icer. I guess he thought if he got arrested and he didn't have a gun, it wouldn't be quite so bad for him. I don't know what he's thinking. But Lenore police said in a news release that a man entered a store around 12:45 p.m. Wednesday and handed the cashier a note demanding money, according to the Hickory Daily Record. The cashier refused, and the man sprayed de-icer and ignited it with a cigarette lighter, causing a small fire near the cash register that was quickly extinguished. According to the news release, no injuries were reported. Logan Ryan Jones, 29, of Lenore, was arrested at his home by Caldwell County Sheriff's deputies. Jones, who had an outstanding warrant for accessory before the fact to a felony, also was charged with attempted robbery with a dangerous weapon and burning certain buildings. His bond was set at $250,000, and his attorney wasn't immediately available for comment on Thursday. These attorneys sometimes have to represent people, even sometimes when they don't feel like it, but they'd have to do it sometime. Speaking of guns, American gun sales remained strong in 2021, with listen to this number, nearly 19 million firearms sold legally in the U.S., the second highest total over the past 2 decades. This is according to a new research from the home and personal safety group Safe Home. Sales fell 13% from the high of 2020, but were still 40% higher than 2019. Annual data compiled by safehomes.org. On an overall and population-adjusted basis, more people are buying guns in almost every state now than ever before. Why do you think that is, huh? Why do you think that is? Well, I could give you a number of reasons, but I don't have time right now. When the judicial system is just slapping these folks on the wrist and said, don't do that anymore. Come on. And they let them go, or they will book them, and then they're out in about 3 hours, and they come back and do it again. Folks are getting tired of all of that harassment. So we're taking advantage of the liberties of owning guns, and more people are buying guns and protecting themselves, and many are taking the concealed carry classes in order to be able to have one concealed. I don't know if you have done that or not. Many of us have those, but it's I'm not advocating duel on the street like Jim Arnaz does on Gunsmoke at the beginning of every series, but we need to protect ourselves. If the judicial system is not going to help protect us, then we need to protect ourselves. And I'm not blaming it on the individual law enforcement. It gets into the criminal system where some of these liberal judges in some of these states and cities, big cities, well, that wasn't too bad a case. We'll just fine him $50 and send him home. Well, that's got to stop, folks. But American gun sales are continuing to surge, and it's people that do it legally. Well, they want to take their guns away from us. It's those folks who are crooks anyway. They're not going to abide by those laws. So why pass laws to take guns away from people when the criminals are going to keep them? People up in Washington need to get a little brain power going up there. What you think? 22 past 8 o'clock. The sheriff's report was aired earlier this morning, and Sergeant Brendel with the sheriff's department recorded this.
Past 24 hours, the sheriff's office has answered 140 calls, processed 13 arrests, and currently have 161 in our jail. Under our arrest reports, we have a Amanda Hull Ramsey, 42-year-old white female of Rutherford, was charged with second-degree trespassing, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Christopher Michael Walker, 33-year-old white male of Bostic, was charged with one count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Dolores Gail Hanser, 63-year-old white female of Paul Ranch Road in Bostic, was charged with 11 counts of cruelty to animals and 3 counts of a local ordinance violation, given a $10,000 unsecured bond. We have a Lindsay Martha Henderson, 32-year-old white female of Rutherford, was charged with one count of failure to appear on a felony, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a Thomas Glenn Ray, 28-year-old white male of Shelby, was charged with one count of drug paraphernalia and one count of possession of meth, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a Dion Cash, 44-year-old black male of Spindale, was charged with one count of, looks like he was served with a show cause for failure to pay money, written promise on that. We have a Jimmy Levon Bristol, 50-year-old black male of Henrietta, served with 2 court processes. Looks like $620 cash bond on that. We have a Ricky Lee Harris Jr., 37-year-old white male of Bostic, was served with a court order. Looks like $600 cash bond on that. Under our incident reports, we have a felony larceny reported from Bridges Drive in Far City. Looks like 2 cell phones valued at approximately $750 each were taken. We have a breaking and entering reported from Waters Road in Bostic. Looks like maybe damage to a statue was done in that incident. We have a B&E that was reported at Green Hill Store. It looks like a drink and a pack of cigarettes, or 2 packs of cigarettes, and looks like they busted the front door. A suspect was arrested in that case. I don't believe he wanted to provide officers with his name at the time of his arrest. We have a damaged property, 642 US 221A. Looks like someone busted the front door to that business. Nothing taken, just damage to the front door. We have a obtaining property by false pretense from Centennial Road in Union Mills. It looks like a gentleman tried buying a tractor on eBay, paid $17,000. He was scammed in that deal. And we have a breaking and entering reported from Lefford Road in Ellenboro, which looks like miscellaneous household items were taken in that incident. And that's all we have to report this morning.
He's doing so well. He said geography has nothing to do with it. It's simply a matter of which teams show up to pay players.
If you want to pay them, they come wherever they go. I mean, that's the end of the day. Unless if you want to get the nuts and bolts of it, Tom took over and we're paying guys to the cap. All of a sudden, now our team's good. It's no surprise. Fox Sports is placing a help wanted sign in the window of Joe Buck's broadcast booth. They're looking for part-time help on Sundays.
The New York Post reporting that Troy Aikman's expected to become the lead analyst on ESPN's Monday Night Football after 22 years with Fox. John Leatherby, AP Sports.
This is NCN Sports.
If the power goes out for your business, are you prepared with a backup? Without electricity, security systems go down, refrigerated items spoil, and customers are turned away. In other words, your business loses money. Control your power. Control your business with a Generac automatic standby generator. Alternative Power is North Carolina's Generac generator experts. In fact, all Alternative Power does is provide backup power. Financing options are available. See more at alternativepower.com.
Or someone you know has been the victim of a crime, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Office of Victim Services is here to provide support. The office provides a range of free, confidential services to help you regain yourself, receive compensation for damages incurred, protect yourself and your family, and move beyond the stigma of being victimized. Visit ncdps.gov/4victims. That's ncdps.gov/4victims.
Novak Djokovic will fall from number 1 in the ATP rankings and be replaced by Daniil Medvedev after losing 6-4, 7-6 to Czech qualifier Yuri Vesely in the quarterfinals of the Dubai Championships. It was Djokovic's first tournament since being deported from Australia last month and missing the Australian Open for not being vaccinated against the coronavirus. Djokovic's 361 weeks in the top spot are the most for any male player since the tour's computerized rankings began in 1973. On the links, Kurt Kitayama was nearly flawless in the opening round of the Honda Classic at PGA National. He fired a 6-under 64 to take a one-shot lead over Daniel Berger, Chris Kirk, and Rory Sabatini. Kitayama's best score in 69 rounds was fueled by a run of 4 consecutive birdies on the second 9. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Good morning, everyone. We're seeing some patchy fog and mist for your morning commute, so a damp and chilly start to the day. But we're watching a warm front closely that'll move from south to north across the area by midday. We'll see a partly to mostly cloudy afternoon, a warm and breezy afternoon as well. Highs today in the upper 70s and lower 80s. A cold front arrives overnight tonight. We'll start off in the lower 40s Saturday morning. Mostly cloudy sky with highs in the 50s Saturday afternoon. Chilly rain for Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
We've warmed up to 48 degrees currently right now, warming all the way up to 71 today with high temperatures. At 71, dropping back to 39 tonight. We have some wind to deal with today, wind gusting to about 17 miles per hour. And it's still a little bit cloudy, a little bit foggy out here this morning, but it'll turn out to be a beautiful spring-like day here in the wintertime, this February the 25th. Have a wonderful day, folks. Enjoy your weekend. It's 8:30. It's time now for Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. And with the program today is Ray Ninow.
Good morning. I always say it's such a joy to be here, and it's difficult not to say that because it is such a joy to be here. And today is another one of those days where I really want to share some things that I know in my life it had major effect, And so I'm going to talk today about your thoughts and your imaginations in your mind. And I'm going to talk about how you need to realize that those things working in your mind become the playground of the devil if you let him. I know for me, growing up, you always thought, life is just this way. You go to church, you go to school, you do all the different things, you have your family, all that. And the whole time that you're doing that, you begin to, experience, just a very good life. Most people do. Obviously, there's those that don't experience that. The thing we don't realize is that at the whole time all that is going on, the devil himself is sitting there starting to try to fire those darts at you, try to bring that influence on you. We need to know we're in a battle. I'm a Vietnam vet. I saw war firsthand. And I begin to understand in my life, I'm in a war. I'm in a war on a daily basis. I'm in a war. I'm in a war to do what the will of God is and his plan for me. I'm in a war to fend off the devil and him trying to influence me in ways that would take me off that narrow path. That's what happens. And that's what we got to begin to see. That's what's going on in us. Those influences are coming. They're coming from our family, from our friends, from the internet. I mean, obviously, when I grew up, it didn't come from the internet. The internet was not in existence when I grew up. But it comes from the music. It comes from TV. It comes from movies. You don't realize how much of that information is just sitting there penetrating your mind, penetrating your mind, penetrating your mind. And what's it bringing? Thoughts and imagination. You want to imagine, what if I was in that circumstance? Or what if I felt this way? Or what about me being there? Or, when the things come from your family, especially you need to be a doctor, or you need to be a lawyer, or you need to be... It's not necessarily what God is saying he wants you to be, but so that imagination becomes very real, and you begin to go out there in your mind. You begin to take journeys in your mind. And for me, that was a very real thing. And I'll talk about that later. But in my life, I experienced a lot of those journeys through chemicals and drugs and all those things. And it taught me, how to go out there, how to be a day tripper, how to be a night tripper. So you're tripping in your mind and you're thinking, what about that? What about that? The whole time you're not hearing Jesus. You're not hearing his voice. You're hearing all the other thing. It says in Genesis 6:5-7, because we need to realize, what I'm going to read here is very important. He says, the Lord saw the wickedness, the depravity of man was great on the earth. This is during the time of Noah. And that every imagination or intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. That's what happened back then. That's what God then brought the flood and destroyed the earth. But this is what he says then. He says, in Matthew 24, he says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of man be. And we're in that age. We're in the age of the coming of man. We're in the age of Jesus coming back. the days of Noah will be the same. The people are out there the same way. They're giving over. They're giving over to all what? The depravity. They're giving over to that depravity, letting every imagination and intent of thoughts of their heart take them over continually. It says all that evil takes them over continually. And it's obvious. You can see it. You can see it out there. You can see it around you. Look, you can see the war that's there. Like I said, I'm a Vietnam vet. I see the war. I see the daily war. I see all the things that are going on. You know, you see this group of people against this group of people. And never have I seen it such that it says it's like darkness against light. It's, you know, it's the depravity that's wanting to win, and it wants to wipe out God and the Christians. You know, growing up, everything was Christian. You know, everybody was. Now there's a very divide. There's a great divide that says, I'm on this side and I'm on this side. You know, and if you're on the side of the Christians now, they're starting to feel that fight against them. They're starting to feel that suppression. They're starting to feel their rights being stolen and taken. But if we go back and we realize that the devil is always trying to seduce us, and he's trying to seduce us with fear and unbelief. You know, and if we read in Genesis 3, and we're going to talk about Adam and Eve here, but it says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath God said, you shall not eat of every tree of, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden. She was not supposed to eat of the one tree. But the devil, the key there was the devil. What was the devil saying? Did God say that? Well, I don't know about you, but I've heard that voice many times in my life saying, did God say that? And then you have to make a choice. Did God say that? You know, did he tell me? Look what happened to Adam and Eve. They were shut out of the Garden of Eden. You know, of all that time being able to walk with God and stroll through the garden, be in the beauty of what God had made everywhere. They were locked out. You know, I want to go on with God. I want to not let the devil talk to me and say, did God say? You know, so many people, they leave their churches, or they leave Christianity, or they leave what God really wants them to, simply because that question's asked of them and they answer in the wrong way. Did God say that? Did God say that particular thing? Well, I don't know. I think that's the preacher's understanding, or that's the preacher's attitude. It's not God speaking. Why didn't God put the preacher there in the first place? Why did he anoint him? Why did he bring him before? Why did he place you there to hear it? So much of that happens. It becomes Satan's mind control. He's trying always to control our minds. He's trying to take our ability to hear the voice of God from us. And he does it by that mind control, constantly going in, constantly stealing those moments. Yet Jesus wants to bring us to a place of submission. You know, the devil wants to bring us to a place of another type of submission, and that is mind control. He wants to control our mind. The devil wants to, he just wants to take control of us. Whereas Jesus wants to take control of our heart. You know, he wants our heart to be in submission to him. It says in 2 Corinthians 10:5, he says, we are destroying sophisticated arguments. Now, you know, my wife and many other people around me in my earlier days would have said, Ray always has a sophisticated argument. I would analyze everything. I would know, oh yeah, well you can say that, but I know it's this, or you can do this and that. Not because God said. It was constantly my mind working. It was the devil taking control of those areas of my mind. And I was confronting things that I didn't necessarily like, or I thought, no, I don't like that. I don't, I want to do it my way. Right? I want to do it my way. So I was analyzing always. So we need to destroy those sophisticated arguments and every exalted and proud thing that sets itself up against the true knowledge of God. And we are talking about every thought and purpose captive to the obedience of Christ. That's what I said earlier. Jesus wants us in the place of submission. The devil wants us out there in our mind, thinking about all these things, all the things we want to do, all the arguments that we have, all the proud things we feel, how it exalts us. That got the devil kicked out of heaven. He raised his throne higher than God, thinking he knew better. How many of us sit there and think we know better? We don't. You need to take those captives thought. Like I said earlier, I can remember before Jesus started really getting a hold of me. I remember those times. I would be in the midst of all these different types of drugs. I would be going places, and I'd be out there in my mind. You'd be standing in the midst of all these people, and the whole time your mind is out here somewhere, in the middle of never land out here. It taught my mind things that were not good. It taught me how to do that. It taught me how to be out doing those types of things. And you know what? That's what the devil does to a lot of you. You may not take the drugs, yet you take the thoughts, and you take the imaginations. And you're out there, and the whole time you can be sitting in church, and you can be out there somewhere. If I was hitting on the golf course right now, or if I was doing this, or if I was doing that, and the whole time you're not hearing what God's saying to you. That's what we're talking about here today. That's where I'm trying to help you today. I'm trying to help you understand my journey out was a major one. I gave myself over to a lot of devils. I allowed them to have that possession of my thoughts, that possession of my imagination. And I would go out there. I could sit and think. I could think for hours, sit for hours, not do anything. We need to understand what really the difference between a thought and an imagination is. A thought refers to a mental impression or a mental process that continues to happen unless it is controlled. Those thoughts come in, and it's up to you to do what you need to do with them. But even more so, you need to know, where did the thought come from? So many of us, and hopefully not now for me, but so many of you and so many of people, when I try to counsel them, one of the things that happens, there's so many voices they hear. They hear a voice say, do this. They hear a voice say, do that. Voices are everywhere. But, in John 10:27, he says it pretty simply. He says, the sheep that are my own hear and are listening to my voice and know them, and they follow me. You need to get to a place in your life when these thoughts come, who is it that's speaking? Who is that? What is that voice saying? Is that God, really? And, is that God? Did God really say? He says, on the other hand, imagination is a voluntary thought. That means after the thought, and you just choose to take a thought, and you're going to now take a voluntary thought, is made by an effort. Otherwise, you take an effort to take a thought. Oh, I want to think about this. I want to go out and think here. I want to go think this. I want to think of what am I going to be like when I grow up. I want to think of what, what's it going to be like today when I go out here and do this. So you get lost. And you begin to do imagination. You start thinking, I'm imagining I'm this. That's not God. That's not God at all. Solomon, he had a personal knowledge of God, but the devil seduced him. Just like he tried to seduce Jesus in the wilderness, but the devil seduced him. It says in Chronicles, because his thoughts actually took him over. It says in 1 Chronicles 28:9, he says, "As for you, Solomon, my son, know that God of your father have personal knowledge of him." He had personal knowledge of God. Be acquainted with him, understand him, appreciate, heed, and cherish him. Serve him with a blameless heart and a willing mind. And the Lord searches our hearts and minds and understands every intent and inclination of those thoughts. He says, if you seek him, inquiring for and of him, requiring him as your first and vital necessity, he will let you find him. And if you abandon and turn away from him, he will reject you. Just like he rejected Solomon. He rejected Solomon because Solomon gave over to his thoughts. He gave over to his fleshly desires. And in that process, those fleshly desires divided him and took him away from God. It says also in Kings, it says, God became, 11:9 says, God became angry with Solomon for his degenerate conduct. What is degenerate? His evil thinking, his evil actions, and his tolerance of what? Paganism. And he declared that his kingdom will be no more for him. That's what happens to us. We give over to those things, and we become a degenerate. We become removed from God because we do these things. We need to understand what we do need to do. We need to react to what's happening. We need to react to when when the devil begins to come in with those thoughts and with those imaginations. He says we need to submit to God. We need to resist the devil and he will flee. We need to put a roadblock. We need to stop him. We need to stop those thoughts coming. You go back to what I said. We know Jesus' voice. How do we know his voice? Because on a regular basis, we come to hear his voice. We do what he told us to do, and we see the fruit. However, if you do the other becomes familiar. If you listen to what the devil says, it becomes familiar. And what's familiar? Familiar is, it is being acquainted with something that's there. So you go out here and you become acquainted with all these things that are not God. And they become familiar. They become common to you. So it's like, you don't think about it on a daily basis. You just go do it. You go do it here. You go do it there. It's familiar with you. Why? Because you did not submit to God. You did not resist the devil. And he didn't flee. He took hold of your mind. He took hold of your thoughts. And that becomes familiar. It becomes a place where you can frequently go. That's what happens to us. We start frequently going to those places that are familiar in our mind. I used to remember, long before I got to know Jesus, know him at all, that familiar was so much there. And I was always pulled to go to places that I shouldn't go to. And I knew I wasn't, because I knew if I went in those places, the wrong things would happen. I would meet the wrong people. I would do the wrong things. but they were so familiar to me that I felt comfortable there. My surroundings I felt comfortable in. You know, why? Because I continuously had gone there, and it had become familiar to me. I want to talk about the devil and Jesus in the wilderness, because it's a classic example. It is, you know, and we've heard it so many times, and I've preached it, I've shared it, but I want to key on some points that occurred during that time, and you'll see basically yourself, if you listen and apply it to where you were and what you did when you went through some of these things, which are very similar. It says in Luke 4, 1 through 13, he says, "Now Jesus, full of and in perfect communication with the Holy Spirit, returned from Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness for 40 days, being tempted by the devil." You know, I found that in my life, you know, the devil always seems to want to come right after I have the greatest victories in God. You know, and it's saying here what? Jesus was full of and in perfect communication with the Holy Spirit. You know, he was rejoicing in God. You know, he knew his relationship with his Father. You know, and that's been me many times. Those times are the times you need to be aware, because that's when the devil, he's going to come. Why? Because he wants to steal the very thing that happened. He doesn't want you to build on it. He doesn't want that to be a foundation. He's going to come in and he's going to attack you with those thoughts right when that happens. And then God, remember, he didn't eat anything for those 40 days. And when they ended, he was hungry. I mean, this is the other side of that. You know, so many times when, you know, we haven't slept, we're weak, we're tired, you know, and you think, oh, it's tough, you know, you're in the woes period. Woe is me this, woe is me that, you know. Those are the times when the devil comes. He comes to drop those thoughts in. You know, again, you've got to go back. You got to fight the fight. You got to resist and get them to go away. That's what Jesus did. That's what he did. He said, the devil said to him, "You are the Son of God. Command this stone to become bread." Jesus replied, "It's written forever and remains written, man shall not live by bread alone." God fought against it. He's teaching us. He's our example. He's showing us how we need to act. He says the challenging physical need. Jesus was he was 40 days without food. And here comes the devil, says, you know what? That stone can become a loaf of bread. And he had the ability to do it. But he told him, no, that's not the way of God. That's not what God wants. It's always in our time of need is when the devil comes with lies and brings what? Fear. You know, am I going to be so hungry? You know, what's going to happen to me? He does not want you to go to Jesus or the Word of God. The devil is trying to occupy your thoughts and your mind. How does he do it? I'm hungry. You know, you can be sitting in church thinking, I'm hungry. What do we have for lunch? Or what are we doing? You know, what's here? Or you can be somewhere and you can just feel the physical needs. And it always seems like those physical needs are always amplified when you're in the midst of a moment when God is trying to speak to you. And why is that happening? The devil wants to occupy your thoughts. He wants to take what's there and he wants to make it larger than life. And in doing so, you're not hearing God. You're not seeing what he's saying. You know, you're not going to the Word. You're not going to Jesus. You're not crying out to God. You're saying, woe is me, I'm hungry. Woe is me, I need money. Woe is me, I need this. Woe is me, I need that. You're not going to Jesus. You're allowing the devil to control you. You're allowing the thoughts to come in and control you. He says, then he led Jesus up to a high mountain and displayed before him all the kingdoms of the inhabited earth and their magnificence. And in a twinkling of the eye, the devil said to him, I will give you all of this realm and its glory, its power, its renown, because it has been handed over to me, and I will give it to whoever I wish. Therefore, if you worship before me, it's all yours. Jesus replied to him, it's written and forever remains, you shall not worship the Lord your God and serve him. I mean, how many of us have been there? You're sitting at the table and here's a great business. I can remember so many of these things. You're at the table and there's a great business deal. It's good. You just have to give over and do these things and give over and do those things. And, if you did those things, my wife will tell you how many times I've sat in New York City before. And all these men were going to give me all these things, or I did, and the whole time it was stealing my walk with Jesus. It was taking me away. It was trying to take me totally captive. And it was well on its way to do so. The devil tries to bring us to a place of imagination. This is, where you're imagining. The man says this and you're thinking, I could be a millionaire. I could have this. I could have any car I wanted. I could have. But the whole time you're not having God. You're not having what he wants. Because it says in Jeremiah, he says, for I know the plans and thoughts that I have for you, says the Lord. Plans for peace and well-being, not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. God's got a hope. He's got a future for us. He's got what, he wants to give us. We can't go out in our imaginations. We can't allow the devil's thoughts to come and take us over and say, you could be all this. If I went and became a doctor, I could be this. If I wanted to be this, I could have all this. Those lawyers, they get a lot of money. I could have a lot of money. That's imagination. That's the devil taking your mind captive. Now, God may tell you to become a lawyer. That's fine. But you need to hear his voice, and you need to follow him. You need to know that it is his voice and not, and go. He said, then he led Jesus to Jerusalem and had him stand on the pinnacle, highest point of the temple, and said mockingly to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down here, for it's written and forever remains, he will command his angels concerning you to guard and protect you. They will lift you up on their hands so that you do not strike your foot against a stone. Jesus replied to him, it is said in the scriptures, you shall not tempt the Lord your God to prove yourself to him. The devil challenges the very relationships we have with God. It said in Revelation, and the great dragon was thrown down, the age-old serpent who is called the devil, he who continually deceives and seduces the entire inhabited world. He was thrown down to earth, and he was the accuser. He was the very accuser of the devil. It says the Hebrew word for devil, diablos, is adversary. It's accuser. The Greek, it carries that concept of slander. You don't want to be there. That's where those thoughts take you. I'm pretty short on time here, but I want to say that at the very end of that, he says, when the devil had finished every temptation, he temporarily left him until a more opportune time. People, the devil constantly is coming back to tempt us. He's coming back. It wasn't just Jesus. You think you've overcome, but you need to look around and see what's going on around you. You need to begin to see that the devil is still trying to take hold of you. He's still trying to control you. Thank you for being here today. You can come see all of us every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday at 8:30, or go to our website, wordoffaithfellowship.org, and see more. Remember, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee. Don't let your mind become a playground for the devil. Love y'all.
WCAB. For the D.C. Circuit, Jackson is a former clerk for Justice Stephen Breyer, who she would replace on the Supreme Court. She's also a former public defender and a Biden appointee who won 3 Senate Republican votes in confirmation. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The world's focus remains trained on Ukraine, where Russian military